right, what is going on? Good morning, everybody. You see the graphic there. I'm going to take it off for now and get us bigger to scare everybody, at least in my case. But I'm joined this morning. Welcome to Hobby Hotline. To my right on the screen, Mr. Victor Roman, true rookie card specialist. And only below us on screen, as I always say, sports card collector Samuel Evans in his car, doing some
doing double duty today.
Yeah, and he was at the show, Phillies Card Show, and he'll be returning there as well. Also, we're gonna have Dan's Vintage Baseball. He'll be kind of linking in from the show itself about the midpoint hour, 11:30. So we'll get a live on scene, if you will. Guys, let's get to some mornings. Andrew Deutsch said, good morning, everyone. Our own John, 3D 80s Kid, good morning. Mad City Brew as well. Orlando, good morning. Philly Joe, I'm assuming Philly Joe is going to the Philly show, but I don't know. White Sox Tom. Scott Yee, good morning. Foul Ball, good morning. And I got good news for Foul Ball. We don't have any real grading talk on the docket today. So there's some good news for Foul Ball.
To be fair, though, we have historically been known to cover hobby news. And so if the week offers us a lot of grading news, it is what it is.
It is. And listen, whether you like it or not, it's a huge part of the hobby. So that's just where we are. So I posted the link if anyone either at the show or just wants to join in more. That show, that's what the show's about too. This is a community show. Our third show, guys, on the For Collectors channel officially, and so far it's been great, and hope everyone feels the same. All right, guys. So I'm going to acquiesce here to Samuel. You are talking before the show. You discovered the show in 21. This is a show that's got 50 years of pedigree, and many people say after the National, it's the best show we have. Now, Burbank's a newer show, but they would probably like to argue and throw their name in their hat. You got Strongsville, which is sort of just a vintage only type show. They might want to argue that point. As someone I've never been, I know talking to Victor prior to the show, he's never been to this show. Kind of to describe this show, the size, what it entails, what you might find, like vintage to modern, that sort of thing.
So for me, can you guys hear me?
Yes. Yep.
All right, so for me, just some like story time, right? 2021, at the end of COVID, card stores open up, and it was time for me to like truly explore the hobby. And I was trying to figure out how best to do that. And I discovered the Philly show, and at the time it was at the casino. And I walked in that show, and 5 years later, I've been going. 4 or 5 years later, I've been going ever since. And to sum up, like 50 years of one of the longest running card shows in America, and thinking about the experiences that I've had over the past, 4 years at the show, it tells me like why this is the longest running show ever. I experienced things like Eagles Con. When the Eagles won the Super Bowl and the Philly show was right after that. Just these like highlight moments of the Philly show. And, from young to old, so many different generations continue to come back to that show, not only for Friday, but for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And each day just, has a flair, even experiencing it during the hobby boom. And just also having the opportunity to, meet and hang with the current owner, but also learn the story of the show, from the previous owner. So, you can't beat it. You can't beat the experience. You can't beat the 3-day run of it. And I can't wait to get back there. I'm on double duty right now. I got to go to my daughter's soccer game, but it's one of those shows like you don't want to miss it. You just can't miss it because there's something for everyone there, and the moments, the conversations, the cards, the people, the explosion of Pokemon. I learned last night that there's possibly over like 60 or 70 tables of like Pokemon cards there. And before that was never the case at the Philly show. So just that idea of inclusivity and what the Philly show has to offer to the spectrum of collectors, our universe as a collectors, because we all have the things that we love and want to collect. And I always say if when the next Philly show is coming up, either in September or December, those key months, and you don't got nothing marked down on the week, that weekend, go to the Philly show. So there you have it.
A couple comments here, Samuel. Bo just put this one up. He's a promoter, right? He says, hot take, all large card shows are equal. A card show is a card show. I don't think Bo believes that. I think he's throwing that out there as someone who does a larger show now. He started kind of small, and his show has exploded. I've been to some bad large shows, and I've been to some really good large shows. So I'm assuming Bo doesn't believe that, but he threw that out there to toss around. I don't think every show's the same because you've got different things going on there, right? Different dealers set up, obviously. You got different corporate entities, maybe at one rather than the other. Maybe some offer JSA authentication, others don't. Grading, I know we said we're going to talk about, we're not going to talk, but maybe grading on site where another big show doesn't offer that. So I don't think that, maybe a bigger show has autograph guests and one that doesn't. We have one here that I do on Syracuse, which is, go ahead.
Yeah, not to cut you off. Like, I mean, to his point, I mean, there's possibly some validity in this point, but for me, having the opportunity to go to a lot of shows up and down the East Coast, and then also experiencing the national, I definitely want to go to some more Southern shows and see what they look like. But I mean, I don't think a card show is a card show. I think every card show has their unique lens on like why we go, and then what differs from like the Philly show and like those larger regional shows. I think the difference with them is that those are the spaces where there's something for everyone. Like 2 weeks ago I went to the Bucks County show, right? It's a small show, but there's a reason why there was a lot of people at that show on a Sunday afternoon. Because there's something for everyone there, and you can find cards at the price point that you want, And like for the Philly show, once it was a show that was heavy on vintage, but you see a lot of vintage, you see a lot of modern, you see a lot of non-sports, and you see a lot of Pokemon. And I just think every show, and like the CSA show, like going to that show, there's something different about that show as well. So I don't think every card show is a card show, but I think you find your reason of like why I need to go to this one because it's special to me, and you have your own unique reason of why it's special.
Couple of the West Coast guys chiming in like East Coast bias. I get it. Listen, I plugged the Burbank show. They're becoming a major force on the show circuit. In Bo's defense as a promoter, and I promoted shows many moons ago for about a year or two, right? The promoter too is factors into that, right? The relationship they forge with their dealers that's set up, right? I've worked with promoters I've loved, and I've worked with promoters that leave a lot to be desired. Maybe they don't advertise the show enough. Maybe they do a poor job setting the show up, which leads into the overall vibe of the show. So I think, who's promoting the show also sets the tone for the show. I don't think Bo would argue that it's not easy being a show promoter. There's a lot of work behind the scenes.
Yeah.
You know, people who come to the show, they walk in and it's already there for them. But there's a lot of work that goes in to putting that show on. Someone who's done it before,
Yeah.
and someone who still works.
Yeah.
You know, go ahead, Samuel.
I would say this, John. Like, I would say this, like, no West Coast bias to me. Like, I would love to go to a West Coast show. The first opportunity I had, like, it just hasn't made the cards. And I think there's a lot of variables that go, like who
You're
you
breaking
know,
up a
right?
little.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you were breaking up a little bit, and that's okay. We know you're on the road. I'm gonna go to Victor. He looks a little sad that he hasn't said anything, but and Victor's a show guy. Victor goes to show. Victor, your thoughts? We're batting around that.
Yeah,
all large shows are the same, which I don't think so. But you've been to plenty of large show. What to Bo's hot take?
I think, and we're basing that off everyone's their own personal experience. For me personally, I think I would push back a little bit because I know I have like the Chicago Sports Spectacular out by me, and that show to me is different from all others only because of the heavy autograph emphasis in there. It's probably 60-40 or 55-45 cards versus autographs being the focus, with a lot of memorabilia being available at that show, a lot of photographs being available at that show, and the main emphasis is autographs. So again, and that's just my own experience, but as far as the Philly show is concerned, I would say I've never been there. It's on my bucket list to get there one year. But I do have a lot of appreciation for the Philly show because it is the home base where I believe the rookie card was birthed. And I say that only because of the research that I've done on the topic. I had the opportunity to speak with a lot of tenured dealers at the National years back, and guys like John Ramirez and B.A. Murray and Jimmy Fleck. I spoke to these guys for 2 days, and to their recollection, when I asked them about where did the rookie card concept begin, a lot of them pointed to certain players, Hank Aaron, Pete Rose, but many of them feel it all started in the East Coast. More specifically, they mentioned the Philly Card Show, where a group of collectors started asking for the first card of certain players, and that concept popularized in the East Coast, and it spread throughout the nation in the coming years. And so that's how come I have a lot of admiration for the Philly show, because to me it's the birthplace really of the rookie card.
Bamboozle said two-pack.
Call that church.
You're gonna like this, but Biggie Smalls is giving a thumbs up in heaven for the East Coast. But here's the other thing too. I think obviously location's a huge factor.
I call that church, Victor.
Anytime you have a show in a huge sports town, right? The Chicagos, the Phillies, a New York City area, right? Boston. I think there's something to be said, and none against Madison, and I know you're in the Green Bay Packers area, but to be in the city itself where a bunch of sports teams, multiple sports teams play, Boston with the Celtics and the Red Sox, Philly with the Sixers and the Eagles and other teams, and soccer. I mean, I think having a show in a sports town, that just amplifies it up. So location obviously is huge. I want to get to a comment here, Stephen, with a PH. He said he went to September 2023, an 8-hour drive from Canada. So you got people from Canada coming into the States for the show. I did not know, pardon my naivety, I did not know that this was the oldest show at 50 plus years. That's something to be said, right? At 19, I was 3 years old. I'll tell you how old I am. But this show has been around since I'm 3, and I'm not a young guy. So that'll tell you how long this show is going on. And so I think too, the fact that a show lasts that long, right? Sometimes we see these shows, guys, they pop up, they last a couple years, and then either they go away, maybe there's someone else takes over or tries to take over and build it back up again. So, you know, it's not easy to do a show. So, Bob Bamboozle, he says, worst fans, best card show. So picking on the Philly fans a little bit there, but you know, I got to get there. It's really not, you know, it's a drivable for me at 5 hours and 15 minutes. I have a nephew who's a Philadelphia fireman. So I got a reason kind of to maybe 2 birds, 1 stone, visit him and his wife as well in his new house. So I'll have to see when how often, Samuel, how often is the Philly show? Is it like 3 or 4 times a year?
I want to say on a calendar, like on a 12-month calendar, is possibly like 3 to 4 times a year. Because I know their key dates is September, December, and then I think it's one in March, like right before the national. Because the guys who do the Philly show, the CSA show, and then like White Plains, the East Coast National, they all look at that 12-month calendar when and pick their weekends.
Yeah. Here's the other thing: 3 to 4 a year. I like that.
For all 3 shows.
That's quarterly, right? It gives you something to look for. I think where shows can get in trouble sometimes, depending on the location, is like every month. Like, and it's sort of the bloom comes off the rose. Not that people love shows. I'm not debating that, but if sometimes too much is oversaturation, too much is no good. I know here in Syracuse we have the big New York State Fairground show, which is it's held where the state fair is held, and I do very well usually at the show. Like Philly, there's 3 or 4 of them a year, and then they take the summer off because the fair comes in. And that first show, guys, after the fair, it's like gangbusters. The line is an hour long to get in, and I do very well because people are chomping at the bit. We haven't had one in 3, 4, 5 months, right? If that Syracuse show was every month, it'd still probably be good, maybe just not as good. Victor, I'll get you back in here. Do you agree with that? Like having a monthly show to a quarterly show, there's a difference in how people look forward to one over the other, or am I making too much about that?
No, I agree. I prefer, you know, local shows to be every month. And I think regional shows are good if they do it every 4 months. That's kind of a healthy balance. To do a regional type show on a monthly basis, it's too much and it waters it down. I think you start getting too familiar with the same dealers, with the same inventory, that sort of thing. So you got to spread it out. Local shows are good, you know, small 40, 50, 60 tables. I like those because it scratches the itch during the month, you know?
Yeah. The one thing I will like to add about the Philly show that I've seen even beyond like trade night is like during the show, like Philly show is a buyers and sellers market. And this idea of like having these tiered markets throughout the hobby to like sustain it, even during low times. Like you can be like a average Joe, and no disrespect to anyone, but if you have something you want to sell, there's a 97% chance walking to the Philly show, someone's gonna buy it. You know, so that's the other plus that I've known, and I'm one to sell my collection. I'm a cardboarder, but I see a lot of people walking in there with like 4 cases and leaving with.
Yeah, Andrew Deutsch says, my local card show, the Mid Atlantic, is once every 3 to 4. I like that for the bigger shows, right? We have I do a monthly show in Watertown, New York, which is about an hour north of here. It's a military town, Fort Drum. It's a smaller type show, and once a month is kind of works for that kind of show. But the bigger shows, just because of everything that entails. I know our fairground show, a lot of times we'll have an autograph guest. So there's a lot of like demographics, getting the guests to the show, flights and stuff. To do that every month would be, it's not impossible, but a lot of work. And I think, again, absence sometimes makes the heart grow fonder. When that show, when it comes back, whether it's 2 months later, 3 months later, people are waiting, and even in the wintertime, they got their parkers on here in Syracuse, and they're waiting outside to get in and enjoy the show. So, and a good promoter, and I'm assuming Bo fits that bill. A good promoter can gauge how often they can do a show, still fill all their tables with dealers, and still get people coming through the door, so the dealers are happy, right? And maybe it is weekly, maybe it is monthly, or maybe it is quarterly. That's up to the powers that be to figure that out. So I'll get it. Bo, again, Bo is a promoter for those that may not realize that. He says, I typically have 4 to 5 card shows within a 2-hour drive every single weekend. All of them are 60 to 200 tables each. Yeah. So, but again, they're not the same location, so they're at different locations, which I think is important to note right now. Orlando says the hobby's on fire. Yeah, I wouldn't argue. Locally here, the shows are well attended, and this Philly show, it's 140,000 square foot. That's a big footprint there, big blueprint. Does it feel that way? I'll go back to you, Samuel. I know Dan will be linking in soon, but does it feel that big, or how does it feel for someone who's never been there, kind of walking through it?
I would say, as someone who saw though when it was at the casino, and then definitely not an overwhelming show. At one time, they didn't. Second space that they have, at one time they didn't have that space, but they opened up both spaces. No, it's definitely not overwhelming. I think it's a great show to walk because everything is in one room. You can walk the perimeter, you can walk down the aisles. There's a lot of space. Even on its crowd, it's crowded. The crowded shows, like when the Eagles came to the Super Bowl, there was so many people in and out of that place, and you still have room to breathe, with the exception of the autograph pavilion, because everybody was in the autograph pavilion when Jalen and all those guys came to. So it's definitely a great size-wise show, but it's not like a overwhelming.
All right, Samuel, we're getting some
hard show where you'll get tired walking with it.
Yeah, we're getting a little feedback. I get it. You're in a car. It's tough, but we appreciate you chiming in. And I'm getting the gist of it. I can hear you. It's just I know some people are saying we're getting that feedback. Well, I hear it too. Victor,
yes,
you have the Chicago. Oh, go ahead, Sam. Oh.
No, I said my fault. It's just one of the weekends, but I'm actually about to sign off because more of the soccer games start soon.
Okay.
I just wanted to tap in and be a part of the community.
Well, we appreciate you, and that's your Philly shows, your home show, like Chicago is to Victor. So We appreciate you. I know you're going back to the show if you can, and it's still within the hour. Maybe have a better connection. Log back in from the if you can. Well, you're going to your daughter's side. Okay. Well, Dan's supposed to link in. Me and Victor have no problem talking, so I think somehow we'll figure it out. But thanks, Samuel.
All right, buddy.
Victor.
Take care and keep collecting.
There you go. So, Victor, you got the Chicago Spectacular. I know we've talked before about it. I picked your brain about it. You know, it's obviously not the National, but it's in the same building. I mean, your thoughts on kind of a big show, you know, in the same building as the National, kind of putting those up against them.
Yeah, no, there he is. Oh wow.
He's getting straightened out. He was up.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
the gravity in Philadelphia is sort of like it is in space, so he's got to get there he is.
Hey guys.
Hey Dan. Morning.
What's going on?
You tell us.
Well, it's the Philly show, and it's like every Philly show over the last few years, it keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So like it's in the Philly Convention Center, and which by the way is like 30 miles from Philly. But there's like 5 different rooms in this convention center, and we used to be only in A. Now we're in A and B, and we're almost filling up B completely. So it really keeps growing. Let me see if I can turn this around and you guys can see. This is the B room, which used to just be like empty, and then it was a few tables. Then they put the autograph pavilion in here, and now it's completely filled. It's unbelievable. Should I turn this way? Is that better? No, that's not better. So how's it going? You
Good.
Guys.
Very good, Dan. We just had Samuel on from his car. He's running a couple hours, then he's coming back to you at the show. A little rough on the reception. Much better. You have a more stable connection. This show, I didn't realize this, Dan. This show is 50 years old.
In fact, this weekend is the 50th anniversary.
I think it's fair to call it. Yeah. I think it's fair to call it the flagship. No.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking about this with somebody else. Like, it's really the longest running continuous show in card history, and it's like it's not the first show. I mean, there were shows in the early 70s, maybe even some in the late 60s, but it's the first one that established itself and then literally kept going for 50 straight years. So it's remarkable, and it's been in the storied history of the Philly show is like it's been in a bunch of different places. It's been gone through like the hobby has. It's gone through periods where it's booming, periods where it was kind of small. But at this point, I would say that it's booming. So all good news around, all good vibes around. So ran into some YouTubers. I was just talking to Jake Waxpack Wisdom, Brian Roth. I'm going to meet up later with Dane from Classy Sports Cards, and also Tony TJ's Online will be here in a little bit. So it's been a pretty good so far. I've only been here about an hour, but it's been fun so far.
In the comments, there's a YouTube get-together later tonight.
Yes.
I mean, that's cool, much like we do obviously at the National, whatever city that's being held. And it's a 3-day show, Friday, Saturday, and wrapping up tomorrow. How long have you been going to it, Dan? I know it's been around 50 years. For you, how long has it been around?
No, well, but I've been going to shows, on and off, in and out of the hobby since like the late 70s, but I haven't been in Philly. My first Philly show was the first show back from COVID, which I believe was in March of 2021. And I've gone to almost every show since then. I think I've missed a few, but I've gone to, I think this is my 12th Philly show. It's 3 times a year, March, September, December. And so, and every time it's a great experience, a lot of great cards. And, I've gotten to know so many of the dealers that it's fun to just hang out and talk and chat. And, a lot of card talk, a lot of hobby talk. So it's
Dan, is there a corporate presence there yet?
Yeah, there's a section. In fact, it used to be in where I am now, which is the B section, where PSA is here and CGC is here. SGC is not here, but it's not like the national where you get that whole sort of carnival atmosphere. There's nothing like that. It's more just tables,
What
dealers and stuff. So it's a little less corporate than you would expect. It's more like a regional show. Like the Hofstra show or the White Plains show or Shriners or Chantilly. It's similar to that.
okay.
And I know you're in the Midwest, Victor, but it would probably, I guess, be more like the Chicago show that is not the national.
Yeah,
It's called that.
spectacular. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. What's the crowd like? Is it more local purchases, or is it more like? Is there a good amount of people there, and what are they buying?
Yeah, it's packed.
It's packed.
There's tons of people. I mean, you can walk the aisles are wide enough that you can walk without it, but you go over to a popular table and you're going to be 3 deep. It's a good mix of people in terms of local and people from out of town. You see license plates in the parking lot from all different states on the East Coast, and you also get a mix of ages. There's kids walking around, 10, 12 years old, and then there's old guys like me. So.
Like us.
Yeah, we need Brody on the screen right now just to bring the average age down a little bit. Dan, the show, I don't know, the show's been around 50 years. Has it changed hands as far as ownership or promoters? Do you know, or is it really the same?
I don't know the details of that. I'm pretty sure it has.
Yeah.
But the guys that have been running it, when I first started going to it, like I said, in early 2021, it was at the casino, the Valley Forge Casino, which is, I guess, about 5 miles from here, southeast from here. And so I think the same guys were running it at the casino, and then they brought it over here to the Expo Center. It's possible that they've added people. It's possible that it's a slightly different group of people, but the dealers are the same. The setup is the same. So I feel like as long as I've been going, I think it's the same people.
A couple funny comments, guys. Mookie says, I believe Ben Franklin was signing at the first Philly show. I may have that wrong. Jay, if you were at that first show and Ben Franklin did sign for you, have that authenticated by JSA or the like. By the way, Ben Franklin is from, I didn't know this until I recently went there. He's often attributed to Philly because a lot of what he did happened when he resided in Philly, but he's originally from Boston. So he also signed at the first Boston show as well.
I'm pretty sure there are guys at the Shriner show, older dealers that were there around when Franklin was signed.
White Sox Tom says, hopefully the YouTube party doesn't
I tell you, the YouTube party, there are 2 hotels here, maybe about a half a mile in the whole sort of complex, but they're like about a half a mile from here. The hotels themselves are right next to each other. And it's a hotel, so they could shut it down. I mean, if there are too many people showing up, but my guess is that it's probably going to be between 15 to 30 people, and it won't be that big of a deal, at least in terms of like crowd. Initially, I'm hoping that it's that way. I'm not actually going to make that. I have to go, but in December I'm going to come back, stay an extra night, and be able to go to that.
Petty confused you with Ben Franklin, but
all right, Mike.
Table wise, Dan, what would you like? Is it percentage wise, vintage to modern, ultra modern? I know you got Pokemon, non-sports. How would you?
To be honest with you, there's not that much Pokemon here. Okay. I'm thinking vintage to modern, probably 60 modern, 40% vintage. There's a lot of vintage here. Like, and there, I just walked down the end to get to an area where I wouldn't be noisy. And there were vintage guys that I'd never seen before. So I gotta get going and go back and see if I can pick up some cards. But no, it's a really vintage heavy show.
For you personally, as a strategy wise, do you go in with a list of cards you're look like a target list, or do you kind of just say whatever catches my eye?
This particular show, it's the catch the eye,
Yeah.
because I spent so much and filled in so many gaps at the national. At the national, I literally had a list, on paper, and so that is the strategy. Sometimes this is a strategy where I'm just like hobby fund wise, not as much as I had for the national, and also just I'm sort of at a crossroads where I'm doing a little bit of consolidation, working as a dealer next weekend. So I'm sort of like trying to figure out where I'm going from here. So it's a lot of just catch your eye. It's also, honestly, it's a social event for me at this point. So, in that sense, it's not necessarily, I could leave here with 1 or 2 cards and be happy.
Yeah.
Hey, Dan, they got any Wembanyama PSA 10s out there?
No, they're all sold out.
I'm poking Mike Petty.
Well, let's see some more comments. What we got?
Let's see. Kennelyn Powers says Mike. They're talking about SGC and the demise or the predicted demise. We won't go down.
Don't get John started. Don't get John started.
Yeah. Some funny kids. Everyone's. You're gonna have to, for Halloween's coming up, Dan. You're gonna have to actually dress up as Ben Franklin. Like you're using a key on a kite string to talk to us. So,
Well, the Shriner show this year, the Friday is actually Halloween. So,
there you go. Get those buckle shoes. Get those buckle shoes rented. And those white socks. But so
my son was in like some like Revolutionary War thing in like 3rd grade, and I think we still have the wigs somewhere around. So maybe
there you go. Listen, I'd rather be called, but when I still play softball, men's adult softball. And a lot of my teammates, when I'm on the field, that my nickname is John Kruk, also with some Philly flavor. There, I think I'd rather be called Ben Franklin. Although Kruk was a hell of a hitter, so I guess I could be called worse.
Any more questions, guys?
Yeah, one last one here before you go. Andrew wants to know any specific card or cards that you're looking to pick up at the show today.
The answer to that, I think I kind of answered it already. Not really.
Okay.
Like I said, I really kind of hit a lot of spots on my list for at the national, but there is one card I didn't get at the national, which is the 49 Bowman Roy Campanella. So if I see one of those, that might jump out at me. So let's go with that from the one card that I'm looking for.
One last one, Dan. Before you go, which do you like better, having like a target list or sort of going in open-minded? Which is more fun? They're both fun. Which one do you prefer?
I actually like the improv. Sometimes it's like the stuff you don't. You walk into a show and you come out, hours later with a card that you was not even in your head when you walked into the show. I like that actually. I think that's kind of cool. So I'm going to go with the improv on that one, John.
Yeah, I would agree. I like almost going in with hey, whatever moves my meter, and if I can afford it, I'm gonna get it. Hopefully, so.
Yep.
I think there's something to be said. But Orlando agrees. He says going in open-minded always.
Yep. So, guys, John, thank you so much for letting me come in. And Victor, it's great to see you as always. I have not watched, but I am going to go watch that Adam video with the Brady rookies, Victor. So I'm really happy you did that one. I'll take a look at that tonight probably. So anyway, guys, thank you so much, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks, Dan. Enjoy the show. Happy hunting.
Thanks.
All right, there we go. It's just me and you. I think we'll be able to hold it down. We got approximately 20 minutes left. Victor, same question to you as someone who goes to shows. Like, what do you like better as far as like having a sort of a targeted list, or just going in saying, hey, whatever I see that I like, that I can afford, I'm buying this?
Yeah, I've evolved on that concept. I used to be like ultra focused on what I was getting, and I wanted to make good use of my hobby dollars to progress my PC. But then, it made things very difficult for me. I was having a really hard time finding stuff, and so I ended up changing the way I do things. And this year at the National, actually, I kind of went in just open minded, just whatever grabs me was my goal, and so it worked. And I had a great time. Picked up some great cards. Thanks to you, we were
I was
walking
sure.
around a little bit.
Listen, I wasn't going to say it, but since you said, I was Victor's good luck charm at this
You
year's
were.
National.
You led me to a honey hole, man. It was like, where have you been, John? You need to stay next to me, man.
Yeah, it didn't work so much for myself. I did buy some cards. I don't want to, have a pity party.
Yeah.
But yeah, you were telling me like I haven't really bought a lot yet. Now we kind of just palled around a little bit, and you were picking things off left and right. So that's always fun. And you picked up. I won't mention the stuff. That's your business. But you picked up some great items. I'm sure you shared them as well. So
yeah.
But yeah, I like going. To me, both are fun, right? Going to a card show is fun. If you're not having fun, you're doing something wrong. But I really like going in sort of without sort of a game plan, and just whatever does it for you or moves your meter. You sort of like, you don't have to buy it, but if you like it, you can. When you have a list, you almost feel like the more pressure, right? I got to pick off a couple things on this list, or otherwise it's an unsuccessful show. And it might not be. Some of my best shows have just been conversations I've even had, right? Or future deals maybe that I made from those conversations. So there's something to be said there. Before we get into our Donruss topic here, when's your next show that you're going to?
Yeah, the next it's going to be the Midwest Monster, October 3rd and 4th. That'll be my next show I'll be attending.
Yeah, so coming up.
It's close here to Indianapolis, but it's a pretty good sized show from what I hear. Never been there, so this will be my first time going there.
Yep, some comments here. Let's see. Mike says he's involved into being closed-minded and only buying what I need, not what I want. Unfortunately, I need a couple Cracker Jack cards. That you have to get out your checkbook there. But card shows might not have cards on the list, or could be more what you want to spend, or the appeal doesn't meet the eye. I like lists, but it works for some people, right? Here's the other thing. You don't have excuse me. You don't have to buy anything, right? You can be selective, eye appeal, and now there's such a proliferation, guys, of card shows, right? There's one coming probably next week, right? So if you don't see exactly what you want, years ago you'd be like, I don't know what I'm going to get other than maybe online if I don't buy it here. Now that problem has sort of gone away with the saturation of card shows. I think with more card shows we can be more selective. Victor, do you agree?
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
All right, Victor. So this is the last year for Panini to have the football license, and they're trying to go out with a bang, if you will. The Donruss 2025 football just came out, and I collect football cards. And I'll put this on the screen there. $435 for a hobby box, and they retail for about, that's not a misprint, that's $26 a pack. I know our vintage guys with us are gonna be like, I could give a crap. It doesn't bother me none. I'm not buying this anyway, but not, everyone doesn't always just collect vintage.
Correct.
I like to buy some modern. I'm more of a vintage guy per se. When I saw this, Victor, and I'm sure you felt the same way, like that's nuts. This is not optic football. This is your base level Donruss football. $26 a pack. Like, just some of your thoughts. Is this just Donruss on the way out, just trying to grab as many money bags as they can?
I would love to like blame, Panini for this, but the bottom line is the main problem is that people are paying it and it's moving. You looked at Panini's website at $435 per hobby box, and they're sold out. Now, the secondary market, I think, is another problem, is that manufacturers were leaving a lot of money on the table. I know secondary market for this product right now is between $450 and $550 a box. So that pack, that cost per pack goes up even more, John. And for like you says, a flagship paper product, this to me is sign of the times, and it really forcing a lot of collectors, anyways, to adjust or pivot or do something different, because this is a product that I typically like a lot because I love the rated rookies.
Yeah.
And they have a pretty deep list of 100 rookies in the base set. And if you like other rookies, instead of just quarterbacks, and you like a receiver or defensive man, you have a good chance at pulling those types of cards with Donruss product. That's how come I really love it. I also have a thing for the flagship product. Score is released prior to Donruss. I don't view Score as the flagship product because all of their rookies are in college uniforms and they really haven't even played in the NFL yet. But Donruss is, to me, the first product, number one, that has the longest tenure. But number two, it is the one that features them in their pro uniform with the beloved rated rookie logo. So this product means a lot to me for that reason. But at $435, no, thank you. And that's through Panini. Secondary market, again, you're paying $450 to $550, and I'm out.
Yeah, like the Shark Tank. And for that reason, I'm out. Same here, man. 18 cards a pack, so you're paying almost $2 a card, just a little south of $2 a card, sight unseen. Again, there's downtowns in there and all those stuff Mike Petty loves, and caboozes, and as he says, and all that. We're going to speak to that in a second about a specific one. I do like football cards, and I'm a longtime fantasy football player. I'm a huge Steeler fan. I love opening the product, but at that price, I don't know if they have I haven't checked at Walmart. I don't know if this is a product you can go to Walmart and buy a blaster. And is the blaster price going to reflect the price of a hobby box or not? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that yet. And let me ask you this, Victor. You say it's selling, and is it selling because breakers are buying it because they can just fill their breaks? Or do you think people are like a regular collector is just going and paying $400 plus or more for a box themselves?
Yeah, it's probably a little bit of both, John, to be honest with you. There is a strong breaker presence, right? But I know, the hobby appeals to, I don't want to say a higher class, but a higher, per year income level. And they're into the new stuff. So I think it's a little bit of both.
Yep. I saw that. Someone else mentioned it, the comments up there about National Treasures level. I thought that I'm like, National Treasures is probably four figures and that sort of thing. But like, it just had that sort of feel to it that this price, even Score, you mentioned Score. Score a year or two ago came out at like $250 a box, and people were like going crazy. And I think that's crazy too, for that, like you said, for that product, which features guys still in their college unis.
Check out Rex's comment there, John, is telling of where we're at.
Yeah, it's selling very well at our shops. That's what it is. It's the chase for one thing. But if you don't get one, right? If you don't get a downtown or a Kaboom or what have you, or whatever that chase card is, or both, right? That's a losing. But again, I guess that's the thrill for some, right? It's.
Yeah.
I mean,
And I have a little bit of grievance too with, because they do sell, let's be fair, right? They do sell retail boxes and they're typically found for about $48 somewhere in there. But the grievance that I have is that they make those boxes less than, right? So they're not going to be they're not going to have as good of hits in it, and they're not going to be, they're kind of like watered down compared to the hobby boxes, and that's kind of the unfortunate thing about it. And so I don't know, lesser of the two evils. That's why I'm sticking with singles personally.
Yeah, that's what I will do. I'll go on your ComCs or your sports lots and pick up certain guys that I put kind of stack away, if you will, or want to keep. Rex, that's a good point too. It's is it the last year for licensed downtown cards meaningful long term? Is that, I don't know if they're going to be able to do them. Obviously, if they do them, they're not going to be able to have team logos on them. So it's definitely the last year for logos on kabooms and downtowns, if you will. So maybe that's factoring in to that. But
yeah, and things are going to get really interesting in the football market. I know there's been rumors that Fanatics is going to start releasing football product early. I've heard other rumors that they're not going to produce football product at all. But then at the same time, there's a cutoff date. And if we know card manufacturers and their cutoff dates right now, the 2025 product, Panini's not going to release all of the products until well into 2026.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that, what do you call that? Not transaction, but
logistics.
Yeah, how that's going to unfold, and we'll see how it works out. But I think there's going to be a lot of shenanigans here coming up.
Yeah, let's get to some comments. Foul Ball says no retail still around here since COVID. Thanks, Flippers and Breakdown. I knew I'd get Mike Petty chasing downtownies.
Speaking of,
yeah, we really don't know how rare the downtowns are. They're almost every table at every show. At my local Syracuse Fairground show, not the every month one, but the regional one, there's a guy who has a case full of downtowns. And I won't mention his name, but he knows me, and I had a conversation with him, and he basically told me, listen, don't repeat this. I'm not giving his name, so I'm not selling them. But these are not as rare as people are making them out.
They're not case hits anymore.
Yeah, people love them, so that's driving. People love them, want to buy them, but they're not that rare. Like people, they're not the way people portray them. Andrew says they're in a bubble, like sitting one, and the gum is stuck to your. I love when companies use to create artwork. They're still not lazy at all. They are. Listen, love them, hate them. They are, to me. I think they're cool looking cards. Can I justify what the prices some of them are bringing? Kennelin Powers does not agree with me. He says downtowns look like garbage. Glad I don't collect anything anymore. Kaboomies look like stickers you would get at the vending machine. Yeah, that I'll give a little bit. There's a little. Remember those sticker machines of the 80s and 90s? There's a little. I see that comment a little bit, but yeah, someone else mentioned you'll get a lot of these cards you're looking for at the dollar bins or the discount boxes. Yeah, and that's a great strategy too. Don't spend $500 on the box. Spend $500 in the bargain box and probably get a stack like this, right? So, hey, me and Victor, I think we'll just tell you, if the new stuff is really getting you down, Come to Vintage. We got more room on the Vintage bus. There's plenty of seats available, and you're welcome. So, but speaking of the Philly show, Cardboard Couch Neil says he's headed to the show now. Rex, who has got firsthand experience with this product, says I actually think unlicensed downtowns and kabooms will do okay. I don't think we'll miss the logos at all in these art type cards. I think they'll. I kind of agree, but I think people do listen. People just like, if you're a Steeler fan like me, right? If you're asking me, do I want the Steeler logo on the card or I don't? I'm 100% of the time I'm going to say put the logo on the card, right? As a Bears fan, you want to see that C on the helmet, right? Or the Bears on the jersey. Does that mean the others won't sell? No, but I think they would sell more being licensed. I think that's why licensed products do sell more traditionally than unlicensed products. Speaking of downtowns and kabooms, let's take a look at this card, Victor.
Mm-hmm. Here we go.
We have actors in movies. Right now we have Brandon Pettigrew, who's playing the role of Calvin Johnson here. And this is from the new product, right? An error. They used it's not an error. I know people are calling this an error. It's not an error unless they correct it. But it's a mistake by Panini, right? They used the Brandon Pettigrew photo to make the downtown Calvin Johnson card. Just kind of talk when you see a mistake like this.
And the way we know this, in case people are wondering, because I know just by looking at it like this, you kind of like, well, how do they know that that's Brandon's and not Calvin? Well, the reason why is because a savvy collector spotted this exact same image on another card, and it was actually Brandon Pettigrew. And so now we're reusing that image to create this Calvin downtown, but it's not actually Calvin Johnson.
Yeah. Listen, the card detectives are undefeated, right? Talk about
exactly.
Now, obviously this is a mistake. It's not an error. An error would need a corrected card. What would be your thoughts if Panini announces like, hey, we're sorry about this and we're redoing it with a correct Calvin Johnson image? Would you look at that and say that now that's a money grab because they're going to drive demand for two cards now because people are going to want this error card that it would become by having a corrected version made, and then the people are going to want both, right?
Yeah. Here's a stupid question: Has Panini made a statement about this error?
I don't believe so. I can't say
believe
that
so
with
either.
Listen, if they do anything like they traditionally do, they just kind of try to avoid it. And like a lot of things in the hobby, after a couple of days or a week at most, it kind of just dies down and goes away. So I think that is sort of their approach.
So then I think to answer your original question, I think then it's up to the hobby, right? When the hobby hype train draws into and leans into this, then it becomes a valuable card, but time will tell.
Yep. Abel in Vegas says, how come Panini did not take a page out of the Topps' playbook with the Bowman Prospect Hall of Fame and release downtowns of Hall of Famers from the early NFL playing days? They do make a few, not super early. I know there's a name. I've seen Namath and some other guys from those eras. Mad City Brew, like he says, downtowns are a watered down product. I told you. There's a guy at that Syracuse Fairground show that has one whole metal All-State case full of these type cards and kabooms. And I said to him, like, how is this possible? And he goes, basically, John, there's just more of these than people even realize. I know that they give the odds, but he even said I wouldn't be shocked if some of them are coming out the back door as well. And then you get, when you factor in, Victor, that it's the last year of them doing licensed product, right? Maybe that backdoor stuff even happens more closer to the end than under normal circumstances, because there's just maybe less care, if you will, right? Hey, we're, if it's like senioritis, right? When you're a senior high school, I'm having fun this year, right? I'm gonna skip days. I'm not coming in any Fridays all year, whatever the case may be, right? So maybe there's a little bit of that going on. And again, I don't, I'm not a Panini hater. I don't like a lot of stuff that they're guilty of, if you will, or but when you see this stuff and here's the thing, someone say for the prices of what these products cost, their QC's got to be better. They're people making these calls or getting the right player depicted on the right card. Imagine if Panini made a corrected version of that Calvin Johnson downtown, but didn't advertise it, just did it and let people sort of discover it on their own. Like, hey, there's a second version now. I just pulled it.
Right.
I wouldn't put it past them. I don't know. It's probably hard to do because all that product sort of, I'm assuming, already packaged and packed out. You'd have to do almost what Fleer did and pull it back, open it up, and repack it with corrected cards. I don't see them doing that, not at this stage, too, of the licensing deal.
Historically, the corrected versions never really moved the needle much for collectors. Now the errors perhaps, but not the corrected version. I do know, there was another transition of the hobby back in 2009, where a lot of products are held in high esteem because it was the last product. 2009 Topps basketball, for example, and the Topps Chrome, very popular sets because it was the last basketball product for that line. But those are things, time will tell, because now when 2008, when Upper Deck left baseball, I mean, there's not a lot of love for 2008 Upper Deck product. So, time will tell, I guess, about this transition. I know there's a lot of challenges on the table with this transition.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see. A couple last comments here coming down the stretch. Orlando says Panini doesn't care. I think they care, Orlando. Do they care enough? That's where I'll agree with you. I don't think they care enough now. This comment's pretty funny and sort of accurate, right? From Bob Boozle. Panini speaks less to us than a deadbeat dad.
Bob Boozle, he's witty, man.
Yeah. It's a great comment, right? And he follows that up with, "Dear Panini, why do you hate us?" And Bobby Burrell agrees with you, Victor. 2009, the last bastion of a great product, and that's why I like when multiple companies hold licensing, because it brings out the competition. That's my fear here. I know it's old news, but when that news broke on my smartphone, it came across my screen that says, Topps losing licensing for this sport, and then Fanatics is buying all the licensing. I'm like, this is the risk. This is what could happen, is because there's no one going to be, other than themselves, who's pushing them. Upper Deck will have hockey, and then they'll have Fanatics will have the three other major sports with no push. So I'm hoping their integrity leads them to make great products for the collectors that collect the modern and ultra modern stuff. But I know I speak for you. I have no problem buying cards that are already in existence and already made. So if these companies choose to, sit on their hands or be lazy or release terrible product, it won't bother me none, because I'm buying cards that are already made and already exist in vintage, and even in modern, not ultra modern. Ultra modern I consider new releases, but even some of the modern cards that are already produced, right? And that's the choices we have, Victor, and everyone else as consumers, is we can pivot, like you said, and collect and buy whatever we choose to. We don't like something, we don't have to buy it. So
Yeah.
all right, listen, we went a little bit over, but that's okay. To those going, whether you're going to the Philly show or any show this weekend, enjoy yourselves. Buy whatever moves your meter, and then you enjoy, and that's the fun. I don't have a card show this weekend. I had one last weekend, so I have a kind of this weekend off to kind of catch up on stuff, and school has started for me, so I have a little bit less time during the week to get that done. So I got a to-do list. Victor, what do you got going on, whether it's content wise or that you want to share?
Yeah.
Wrap it up.
I'm going to be going on vacation to Cozumel, Mexico here next week. So I am batch uploading a lot of content because I'd like to take a good 7 to 10 days from no content creation, just kind of take a step back. But I still want to be consistent at releasing content. So I am batching up some videos this weekend so that I can take next weekend off.
Yeah, no doubt. You gotta go on. That's something. I went a couple weeks to Boston a couple weeks ago to Boston and Salem with my wife. My wife said, "You're doing a lot of card vacations. Where are we going?" So I'm like, "Where do you want to go?" She goes, "Well, listen, where haven't we went that's like drivable?" So that's what I came up with. She liked it. We had a great time. Sometimes, all joking aside, like sometimes it's good to just put the cards down and take a break, right? Again, we talked about sometimes time between shows, right? Absence makes the heart grow fonder. I think same thing with the cards.
Your wife was not giving you a hint. She was
That was pretty. There was no subtleness or subliminal. And she wasn't mad. She was just saying, "Hey, where are we going?" Right.
Right.
So, and it's funny because it was time to go on sort of me and her vacation, and we had a lot of fun and crammed a lot of stuff in 5 or 6 days. So, and we'll do it again. We want to do something like that once or even maybe twice a year when we can. So
you have to. Yep.
Well, everyone, thank you. Whether you're live in the chat or you're listening to this on audio, afterwards, we come out on audio on Tuesday. So if you missed the live, you can also catch the live on the For Collectors channel anytime. Maybe it doesn't have to be live. We're having a blast being part of their network and looking forward to continuing that. We're every week again, Victor, which is always
awesome.
fun. We got some fresh faces as part of the show, so you'll see less of this ugly mug. I'm not even on. I got good news for some. I'm not even scheduled for October. You'll see me back in November, so you'll see a lot more fresher faces. But you'll see folks. But you'll see us every week just the same, and I think that's a good recipe. All right. With that being said, we'll see you next week. Take care, everybody.